Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today, we're going to be talking about how to lose 100 pounds in 90 days. Yes, you heard me right, 100 pounds in 90 days.
We're missing a piece of the puzzle. You start getting healthy and you just become a better person. We need to start focusing more on the individual.
Before we get started, I want to remind you all to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe. It's definitely going to let me know if you like these kind of videos, as I'm looking to really niche down and make sure that you all are getting what you want. We have a lot of new subscribers coming in, so I'm going to be doing some videos like this to kind of help get y'all caught up to speed, because although what we talk about on this channel might sound like it's outlandish, it's actually real. We get real outcomes here. We've got a long track history of getting outcomes. So we're going to help get y'all caught up and help you get whatever it is you're looking for. I also want to let you all know, I know so many of you have been waiting. The AHA fasting journal has finally arrived. You all can see it here. I'll probably just put a picture of it on the screen. This particular journal actually comes with tabs built into it. So if you're interested in tabs, we've got tabs now. And we actually have two different styles of the journal. We have the one I just shown you, and this one is the premium journal, which is just a little sleeker design. It's a little different design. So links will be in the comment section or in the description box. You have the tabbed journal, and then you have the premium journal. So if you're interested in those, you can check that out. And you can also find them in the shop at ahealthyalternative.org. Okay, now we're going to get to the good stuff. How do you lose 100 pounds in 3 months? Now, first, let me tell you, this has already been done several times, okay? We did a video with my brother Steven, who actually outlined how he did it. I had a guest who, his name also was Steven, who did it as well. And then we've had many other guests who have done close to the 90 pounds or the 100 pounds in 90 days. So if you're interested in understanding this formula, that's what we're going to be talking about. Number one, in order to hit this type of milestone, you're going to have to be very consistent, okay? This is not something you can kind of half do, right? So number one, commitment is going to be very important. Number two, having a regimen that is concise. We're going to be utilizing fasting as the primary method to lose this weight in this period of time, but not just any old kind of fasting. We're going to be specifically talking about water fasting. So that's water only. You're not having coffee, you're not doing tea, you're not doing any of that other stuff. You're just drinking water only. And then, of course, we're going to build in some days for you to eat as well. And we're going to talk about how you can eat. So number one, you have to prepare, all right? There's no way that you can just off the cuff, you've been sitting on the bench the whole game, you're just going to come out cold and start, playing like MJ. You're going to have to warm up. You're going to have to prepare. You're going to have to get your mind, body, and soul essentially ready for what is about to take place, because we're going to be pushing hard for the next 90 days. The prep, it's very, very simple. There's a few key points, which I talk about a lot. Number one, hydration. Get it in your mind that you're going to be drinking about a gallon of water per day. Now, I recommend distilled water. This makes things very simple, very clean, very neat, okay? So 1 gallon of distilled water every single day. That's what you need to be thinking and focusing on. One of the ways that you can kind of get that gallon in is by breaking up into smaller increments. Most people, when they're planning to drink a gallon of water a day, they'll take the whole gallon around with them all day long. This is going to be a mind game. So in order to do this, you're going to have to kind of play tricks on yourself. So the first trick we're going to talk about is break your water up into small incremental steps. Maybe I would say 12 to 16 ounces max. Okay, if you could get Amazon has these little bottles, I think there may be 10 to 12 ounces, and you could essentially get all your water in these little bottles, and you're just drinking the little bottles throughout the day. It's a mind game. People tend to be able to drink smaller portions of water like quicker than if they were to have like a gallon of water and have to drink the whole gallon. So that's just an easy tip. Number two, we're going to move into a prep week, okay? So out of this period of time, we're going to take 7 days to prepare our body for the actual fast. What this is going to do is it's going to keep you from shocking your system when you actually decide to do the fast, when you start the actual water fast. So the first thing we're going to be doing is eliminating breakfast. If you eat breakfast now, you need to stop eating breakfast. Breakfast is the most detrimental meal that we eat, so cut that out. If at the very most, if you need something, you feel like you got to have something, you can have some fresh squeezed juice, meaning either you're squeezing it yourself at home or you're going to the store and you're buying fresh squeezed juice. Do not get Tropicana, simply lemonade, none of the pasteurized or juices with preservatives in it. Make sure that it's fresh squeezed. It's usually made daily at the different grocery stores, or of course you can make it yourself. Okay. Number 2. You want to start eating your larger meals towards noon, right? You don't have to eat it exactly at noon, but you want to eat your larger meals closer to noontime because the sun helps metabolize your food. So what this really looks like is your first meal is going to be close to noon, and that's just simply going to be the larger of the 2 meals you're going to eat. So we're not eating breakfast. That leaves 2 remaining meals. And we're going to focus on having our larger meal closer to noon. It gives your body more time to digest food. The sun helps you metabolize food. And you could still have a smaller meal later on in the evening, but you don't want to be eating past 8 p.m. Or at the very least, you don't want to eat within 2 hours of going to sleep. Okay? This all aids in digestion. This is all very, very important in making sure that you're getting optimal output when you do this. Okay, so we're going to focus on those steps for maybe the first 3 days or whatever of the prep. Then about day 3, we're going to start implementing the next step, which it's kind of a form of portion control. Once again, we're getting back to the mind games. So the body actually, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes for the body to register that it's full. That means the gut's sending a signal to the brain, bing, we're full. What you have to do is start slowing down your eating. We're eating too fast. Our lives are too fast. Slow your eating down. One really simple way you could do this is buy a smaller plate. Literally, go find a small plate. If you've ever noticed at like Golden Corral or different buffets and stuff like that, they never have regular sized plates. They're always a little bit smaller. They're banking on the fact that number 1, you're going to have to make more trips. Number 2, you can't get as much food on a plate. And number 3, it's going to give you more time to register that the gut is full. So we're going to use this technique at home to our advantage. Okay. So start eating smaller portion sizes and then give yourself maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes in between your plates to give your body time to register, oh, I'm full. This is going to help tremendously. I can't talk about this enough. Now, the next step, right, we're going to do that on day 3. On day 4, what I want you all to do is start reducing or eliminating the foods that we know are bad, okay? This is like the soda. If you drink soda or pop or soda pop, whatever you call it, cut it out, right? Fresh juice, you could do tea, you could do water. Water would probably be best. If you're eating meat, dairy products, or any other types of processed foods, what I want you all to do is start cutting the portion size in half. If you know that it fits in these categories, if your food came with an ingredient list, if you went and got a box of macaroni and cheese from Kroger that has an ingredient list, that is a processed food, you want to be eating half portion sizes of that food. How do you figure out what a half portion size is? Whatever you typically would eat. So if you made a box of macaroni and cheese, one of them Kraft boxes, if you would typically eat the whole box, cut it in half, right? You're only eating half of the box. And then what you're going to do is you're going to replace the food that you're not eating. You're going to replace it with fruit and vegetables. It doesn't have to be fresh, but you just want to be eating fruits and vegetables. So if you still aren't satiated, you want to start, getting your body to a place of satiation using fruits and vegetables, and you can also use natural grains. So these are all great options. The next step, we're going to reduce the frequency at which we eat from 2 meals a day down to 1 meal a day. Remember, this is all in preparation for starting our fast. So what you're going to want to do is on day 5 or so, you're going to want to start doing 1 meal a day. All right. And one meal a day is really exactly that. You're not going to eat in the morning. You're not going to eat in between any meals. You're going to have one meal. You're not going to do any snacking. You're not going to have popcorn. You're not going to chew gum. You're just literally going to eat once a day. Now, I'm not going to get all into one meal a day. I've got a whole video talking about that, but it is one of the most powerful fasting strategies that is on the market right now. And it's something that's really, I think, generally speaking, it's easy to do. Okay. You just have to get your body acclimated. Now, on day 6, you're going to start doing some juice fasting. Okay. The point of the juice fasting is to start breaking down the plaque in your system, starting the process of flushing the material and waste out of your system. This is gonna help you tremendously when you actually start doing your fast, because a lot of the detox symptoms and things you're going to experience on your fast, they're going to come from old material being rehydrated. Remember, we're drinking a gallon of water a day. So as that old material gets rehydrated, it starts to kind of leach into the bacteria, and infection starts to leach into the bloodstream. We want to go ahead and flush that out. So you could do a juice fast. You could use any juice you want. Just make sure that you stop eating at this point. So on day 6, we're no longer eating whole food. We're going to start doing juice only. You could do half a gallon of juice a day if you want. You could do more. Okay. Now on day 7, and this is very key, on day 7, the last 12 hours of the day, right? 24 hours in a day, the last 12 hours of the day, you can have juice, but make sure that it's only green juice, right? Green juice just simply means you're typically not dealing with sweet fruit. So people will make like cucumber and kale and maybe ginger or whatever the case may be. They might throw a little apple in there just to add a little flavor, but green juice is typically going to be just like plants. It's not going to be the fruit, okay? It's going to be like the leaves and the stems and things of that nature. Or if you do use fruit, it's going to be low glycemic fruit. Now, the reason for this is because when you start your fast, the first thing the body wants to do, dump sugar. So if we start the process of dumping the sugar before we actually start the fast, it makes the transition to fasting much easier. So this is just a quick outline of the 7-day prep. Now, once you have done that, and I urge you to do that, do not start this without doing that. Once you've done that, now we're going to look at a regimen that can actually get the weight off. Now, as I talked about in last week's video, the average for weight loss is 2 pounds per day up to 2 weeks. So if you fast for 2 weeks straight, you'll lose roughly 28 pounds. This is pretty accurate. If you fast longer than 2 weeks, if you fast 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 3 months, if you fast 3 months straight, you're only going to lose 1 pound per day. That's the average. So what's going to be very key here is that we do implement some opportunities to eat, but if we eat well, if we eat very smartly during this time, we can continue losing weight. See, what happens and what slows your weight loss down is the body really tightening and shrinking and cinching up the skin. And when you fast straight, the body will take an entire week to focus purely on just tightening up the skin. Another thing that slows down the weight loss is poor elimination. Okay, so if you're really backed up, which happens to most of us when we fast, you're not going to eliminate well, which is going to slow down the weight loss as well. So 2 things we're going to do. Number 1, we're going to keep our fasting cycles less than 2 weeks. Okay, so you can fast for up to 2 weeks, but after that, and when I say up to 2 weeks, I mean straight 2 weeks, because people always ask, "Does it mean 2 weeks straight?" Yeah, you're going to fast for 2 weeks straight, 14 days, water only, and then what you're going to do is you're going to break your fast, and then we're going to go back into the fast. Now, for the period of time that you break your fast, you're going to want to eat raw food. Okay, raw food is going to be ideal. If you choose not to eat raw food, that's fine. But we're talking about how to lose 100 pounds in 90 days. Did y'all think this was going to be easy? You're going to want to eat raw food. Okay, if you choose not to, results may vary. So you're going to eat raw food, and you're going to do raw food for 3 days. So you're going to do 14 days eating, 3 days of raw food. Okay. and there's plenty of channels talking about different raw food recipes. It's really an amazing way of eating, I have to say. So then once you finish eating, you're going to hit a juice fast. We're going to juice fast for 3 days. Why? We want to make sure to move all of that material out. So everything we just ate, we want to make sure that it moves out of our system properly. But then we also want to continue to break down the plaque that is lining our intestinal tract. This is what's going to detract from your weight loss during this time. So it's just an important step to do that a lot of people think is like a waste of time or slows the process down, but it can actually help keep your progress or keep you losing weight more steadily. So it's actually more beneficial than people think. Now, just like last time when we did our prep, you could do any juice you want for the first 2.5 days. But on the last day, the last 12 hours, so on day 3 of our juice fast, the last 12 hours, I want you all to make sure that you're drinking green juice only. Now, you could do green juice throughout the other days if you want, but I really want you focusing on acidic fruit juice. Okay, that's important. That's what's going to help break up this plaque and the mucus that's in your system that can essentially detract from what we're looking to accomplish here. All right. Now, once you do your juice fast, you're going to roll back into your water fast. And once again, you could fast for up to 2 weeks. Now, if you do not do the full 2-week fast, that's okay. You're still going to see phenomenal outcomes. I'm just letting you know results may vary. All right. This is a very intense regimen, but I am presenting it in a format that I think is more digestible for you all. If you've never done a 2-week fast, then it might be a good idea for you to start on one of my other videos or somewhere else. We are going to be hosting a 21-day fasting challenge. The 21-day fasting challenge is going to be starting on January 1st. Okay, so as soon as the new year hits, we're going to hit the ground running, and we're going to do some prep in that challenge before we start fasting. So if you're interested in really digging into this method we're talking about today, you can actually join our 21-day fasting challenge. I will leave the link in the comment section, and then that can kind of help get you started on this path, and then you can just kind of continue rolling with it. All right. So at this point, what we've essentially established is a cycle. All right. You start off with the prep. So you want to get yourself mentally, physically, and everything like that ready. Then you're going to do up to 2 weeks of fasting. Okay. I do recommend the full 2 weeks. When you break the fast, we're going to eat. We're going to eat for 3 days. Then we're going to fast for another 3 days, but we're going to do a juice fast. Then after that, we're going to roll back into our water fast. And it's just a cycle that you're going to continue to repeat. Now, here are some things to note. Number one, you can exercise during this time if you want, but I would actually recommend you rest more than anything else. Listen, if the goal is to lose 100 pounds in 90 days, we can tone up later. Don't forget that the body is going to eat up the dead protein, right, through the process of autophagy. So don't worry. You're not going to be dealing with like some crazy amount of loose skin or anything like that. Are you going to need to tone up after this? Yes. Okay. But it's not loose skin like you might see on YouTube. If you research like loose skin, where it's like a shirt you could pull off your body, that's not what it's going to be like. It's going to be extremely manageable. You won't need to get surgery, nothing of that nature. Okay, so don't worry about that. If you want to exercise, you could do some light walking, you could do some yoga, you could do some light weights. You just don't have to go hard. Number two, do you need electrolytes? No, you're not going to need any additional electrolytes. Number one, there's a myth that the body pees out electrolytes when you start fasting and you're going to have electrolyte deficiency. It's just not true. We have done much testing on this subject, and most of us in our team, at least, we don't, well, no, all of us in our team, we don't do any electrolytes, but most of us in the community don't use electrolytes. Also, remember, you're only fasting for about 2 weeks at a time, and then you're recharging your system. You're going to get the electrolytes from the juice. You're going to get the electrolytes from the food. You don't have to worry about any type of protein deficiency or anything of that nature. Your body will start extracting all of the nutrients it needs from the food you're eating because you're eating live food. Not only are you eating live food, but you're also restoring the ability for your body to absorb nutrients because you're doing the juice fast. fasting, you're cleansing the gut, you're cleansing the intestinal tract or the elimination tract. Okay, so you don't have to worry about those things. I'm going to do a separate video talking about detox symptoms as well as the benefit of fasting. And if you're interested, you can look in my archive. I've got those videos. But maintenance. Okay, so you've lost all this weight. Now, how do you maintain the weight loss? Number one, understand when you do a regimen of this caliber, your system's going to be very sensitive. So make sure that you do not go back to just eating crazy. You don't want to go and break your fast at the Chinese buffet. You don't want to go to, your favorite hibachi grill or anything of that nature. You want to make sure that when you break your fast, when you complete this 90-day process, you're going to want to ease yourself out of it, okay? Start with fruit. Fruit is the easiest thing for your body to digest. You could also do a broth, a veggie broth. Those are two great options for breaking your fast. And I would highly recommend that you make it from scratch at home because remember, you could buy veggie broth at Kroger or at, Whole Foods or whatever, but it is going to be processed. So make it from scratch. It's easy. Water in a pot, onions, carrots, bell peppers, whatever you want in there. Boil it, a little sea salt, a little smoked paprika, whatever else you want in it. You've got your little broth. And then you could drain the fruit and the material out if you want, or you can consume it. That's all good. Okay, so the first 3 days, you're just going to be eating raw, fresh vegetables, fruit, broths, things like that. Okay? After the first 3 days, then the next 3 days, you can start having like salad. So you're going to start having the more vegetable stuff, right? I would recommend if you're eating like broccoli and cauliflower and vegetables like that, make sure you steam them, okay? Once again, you're going to add water to it. It's going to make it easier for your body to break down. Coming off of 90 days of a regimen like this, your body's going to be very sensitive. You have to take it easy. All right. So for 3 days, you can add the steamed vegetables and things of that nature. Now, if you decide to do potato, eat it in very small quantities. Starchy foods, eat it in very small quantities. Don't eat a ton of it. All right. Now, the next 3 days, okay? So we're doing this in 3-day increments. Now you can start adding your grains. Make sure they're natural grains. I cannot stress this enough. You want to stay away from like rice and genetically modified grains as much as you can. Look for spelt, kamut, teff, rye. Look for natural grains, and you can start having those natural grains along with your meals. Okay, you got to ease yourself. So now we're 9 days into this refeed, and the most that we've really had, the most dense food we've had are grains. This is perfect. You're doing great. Now, after that, you can start introducing more complex foods. Okay, if you're interested in doing like bread and pasta and things like that, after that first 9 days, you can start introducing it once again in small portions. Now, why am I taking so much time to explain the refeed to you? It's because this is the first step of maintenance. If you come out and you go to the Chinese buffet, you have pizza, you break your fast, your 90 days, and you go on a vacation, you have liquor and things of that nature, you're going to shock your system. The body's going to flood with water. You're going to gain a lot of weight in a very short period of time. You're not going to gain it all back, but you're going to gain a lot of it back, and it's going to be very mentally damaging. So let's just not do that, okay? Now, if you slip up, I understand. We're all humans. This process isn't going to be perfect, but you can do this. If you slip up, just correct yourself. Get it under thumb quickly, and then go back to the regimen, all right? After your first, let's just say 12 days, now if you want to start reintroducing your meat and your dairy products, you can. I just would say make sure that it is high quality stuff. Right? Go to the farmer's market, go to organic local farmers, do some research. Do not just go to the store and start buying whatever's on the shelf. It is very damaging food, right? The toxicity in these foods is insane. I'm not going to get into it in this video, but it's just insane. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that to yourself. Now, what does the actual maintenance look like? What it means is you want to adopt some form of fasting regimen after this 90-day period. It could be one meal a day, right? We talked about that earlier. It's phenomenal, gives you a lot of flexibility. It's one of those strategies that's really forgiving. So even if you're not eating the right thing, you're not eating the perfect thing, because the body essentially has 24 hours to digest food because you're only eating once a day, then it's not as impactful and you will maintain very well. What's more popular is people do intermittent fasting. Okay, so that means that you're not going to eat breakfast. Breakfast is gone. Boop, never eating breakfast again. Or if you have breakfast, it's fruit or it's fruit juice. It's very light. And then what you do is you create a fasting window for yourself each day. So you might say, okay, there's a 6-hour period of time between 12 noon and 6 p.m. where I will eat. Okay, and then you don't eat outside of those windows. Now with intermittent fasting, because you're eating more frequently, you have more room to eat. It's important to adopt some sort of dietary strategy change. You want to do raw food, you want to do alkaline food, you want to do plant-based. All of these would be pretty much optimal for maintenance. When you start getting into vegetarian, you start getting into veganism, they're not necessarily as good because the parameters for what you can eat broaden a great deal. But if you stay away from the meats, the dairy products, the processed foods, and refined sugars as a rule of thumb, or if you keep that stuff to a minimum, you're going to be doing great. Keep the water intake up, but by now you've probably started to hydrate your system really well. You don't necessarily have to drink a gallon of water a day anymore. Make sure to, juice consistently. So if you're doing an intermittent fasting schedule as a maintenance, then what you could do is throw 1 day a week of juice fasting in there, or 2 days a week of juice fasting. Or you could take the first 4 days of every month to do a juice fast, right? Just to help keep everything maintained and also keep you progressing. Okay. So you got some decent detailed information in this video. You got some broad strokes. I'm going to come back. We're going to do much more videos like this. We're going to get more into these topics. Please feel free to leave in the comment section if you have any questions or comments. We will be monitoring it so that we know how to craft the videos in the future to make sure everybody's on the same page. But thank you all for subscribing. Appreciate the new viewership. Of course, shout out to all the day ones. We hit 100,000 subscribers recently. I'm really excited about it. But what it did was it made me realize, you know what? I should probably focus more energy on the YouTube channel as we just continue to grow the brand and all those sorts of things. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. Let us know that this is the content that you want. And as always, the application of knowledge is power. And I'll see you all next time.